What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Spectator Mode Podcast, episode 36. I'm your host, Keith Mitchell, and as always, I'm joined by my two gaming cohorts, Deigo Perez. Deigo, what's up, man?
Hey everyone. Oh man, it's been a week, but
You sound tired.
Yeah, I've streamed all week, but then like some stuff came up on Friday, and I had to miss a stream that I hyped up to everybody. It feels bad missing a stream, and then some stuff came up with financial aid for school, and then like class and stuff, and I've been trying to work through all that all weekend. So fun,
super fun. And Rob Dole. Rob, what's up,
man? I remember that financial aid is obnoxious about everything all the time. I went through the same BS, and they always try to milk you for whatever they can, not give you what you need, even though you qualify for it. It was terrible. Anyway, I am back after a long weekend for a celebration because my best friend had a wedding, so I didn't get too much video games in. But yeah, I am also very tired. But we're here.
All right, folks, and as always, I want to go ahead and hype up the podcast. Also want to hype up one of our other podcasts, the Nintendo Entertainment Podcast, ran by three very special Nintendo fans. They eat, breathe, and everything Nintendo. Definitely check those guys out here in United Haven, as well as us here on audioboom.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and wherever podcasts are. We're actually trying to get on Pandora as well, so stay tuned with that. As far as what we got talking about today, we want to talk about, obviously, the games that we've played this week. Maybe some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I always get that wrong.
It's such a bad name in my opinion.
It's quite long. Yeah.
It is. Project xCloud, the new Xbox Elite Controller Series 2, and possibly other things. But let's go ahead and open up the show with what have we been playing. No, I'm going to go first because I never get to go first. And I'm pretty short this time. What have I been playing? See if you guys can guess.
Destiny
2.
PUBG. Yep.
I almost fired that up. I almost fired it up.
You're not missing much.
I've been playing nothing but Destiny 2. I went through the Iron Banner, got my armor for both my Warlock and for my Titan. I'm actually trying to do a couple quest lines that I didn't do to get a couple exotics. Other than that, just going through PvP, Crucible, and getting pissed off and smashing my keyboard against the desk. And yeah, Destiny 2. That's all I've been doing. How about you, Rob?
Yeah, pretty much same. Like I said, I didn't get much time in, but I finished all the in Destiny 2. I did the Ghost Traces. I finally found all of those just because they were sitting there, and I was like, oh, I'll just do it. I did that for a bit, and then I've just been grinding strikes, trying to finish up some of the season quests that they give you. So I've been working on that a little bit, and that's pretty much it. Just trying to get my level up. I'm I think 927 now, 28. Got a bunch of cool exotics too, which is nice. I got an auto rifle called Hard Light. That's really cool because you can like swap between the three elements whenever you choose to if you hold down the reload button.
I think I've got that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoy it. I like auto rifles a lot, so it's been good with that. And I also got these really good gloves that you can use. That they're the exotic like special ability is that anytime you melee somebody, it triggers a health regen as soon as you hit that. So it's like and it continues, I think, for like a few seconds. That's
a character or a class specific. Which character are you playing or class are you playing? Okay, so
yeah, it's really good. It's insane. I've gotten out of like so many like bad spots just because of a passive ability that you can just keep using over and over again. It's really good. So I've been doing that, and yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
All right, so Deigo has a lot of stuff we want to hear about. So go ahead, sir.
I fell in love with the game this week, guys. Before I talk about that, I want to talk about Fortnite because I played Fortnite again. The whole Chapter 2 thing. It's back. It's not dead. It's a rebooted Fortnite. So I hopped in there.
Can I stop you for a second? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. All the memes and the teasing and the harassing people saying the Epic Games killed Fortnite. Come on. I mean, who really thought this?
They've only done this like literally 10 times before. It's a season-ending event. I don't know why people thought it was actually ending.
You would think that Epic Games would be out of their minds to kill their cash cow. It's literally the only game they have now. They killed everything else.
But like, it's also not the first time they've done this. This is a regular occurrence and happens every few months. But yeah, I played Fortnite Chapter 2. I fell off of Fortnite really, really hard. I haven't played since like Season 3 or 4 because it got really out of hand. But Chapter 2 is not to get nostalgic over a game that's like still happening, but it reminds me of like the golden age of Fortnite almost. Like it gives me season 2, season 3 vibes when I used to play, because like they've gotten rid of pretty much everything they've added to the game over the course of the past 2 years. Like the arsenal of weapons, it's pretty much only the weapons that were in vanilla Fortnite, outside of like a few ones that fit in there really well. There's no weird stuff like clingers, like there's no mechs, none of that. None of the
Wait. They got rid of the mechs?
Yeah, everything is gone. It's a completely fresh start, new map and everything.
The go-karts and everything?
Everything. There are boats now, which I really like. The whole map, it has like a lot of rivers that interconnect, so you can use boats to navigate really cool, and they have missiles on them, which I think is really neat. And because there's a lot of water on the new map, they added fishing rods, which is one of the reasons I wanted to hop back in, because fishing minigames and video games hold my attention much longer than they should.
You apparently are not the only one. I've seen a lot of people complain that games don't have fishing minigames in them.
If your game doesn't have a fishing minigame, it sucks, peried. But
Wait,
yeah,
Street Fighter didn't have a mini fishing game in
Street
it.
Fighter's garbage, dumpster trash.
Wow.
Anyway. Yeah, in Fortnite you can like you pick up fishing rods across the map, and like you can fish in any part of the water, but like there are certain hot spots that you can see them. There's like fish jumping, and if you fish there, you can fish out like fish that'll heal you, which I think are better than the regular medicine in the game. But you can also fish out gear, so it's like a way of looting.
Oh, okay.
So that's really cool.
Until somebody kills you at the fishing spot.
Yeah, but they're all over the map, and a lot of them are really secluded, which is really nice.
Okay.
Another feature they added is like you can pick up downed people, which when I saw this feature, I originally thought, oh, you can pick up your teammates when they're down and like take them to a more advantageous spot to heal them. No, you can pick up anybody that's down, even
anybody.
enemies.
So you can pick them up and toss them off the map and stuff.
With, like my friends in a squad, and we'll be like in an engagement, and I'll knock somebody and I'll call it out. I'll be like, knock that guy down. But instead of contributing to the rest of the fight, I'll pick that guy up and run as far away as I can, and just like keep away with this squad, and it's so much fun. Plus, you can yeet them. That's the button prompt. You can press square to put them down, or R2 to yeet, and it just tosses them really far. I've yeeted people off of cliffs for kills, and it's the funniest thing.
Like, I can see people complaining about that already.
It's so much fun. Honestly, I'm in love with Fortnite again, but that's not the game that I've fallen in love with this week. I played a game this week that I had no idea existed before, like Tuesday, and it's called Disco Elysium.
Oh yeah, you were streaming that.
Yeah, so I woke up Tuesday morning, and I saw that there was an RPG where you're a detective, and it has a 90+ on Metacritic, and I'd never heard of it before. And I just was dumbfounded as to how that was possible, because I love detective games, I love RPGs, and I love 90+ on Metacritic. How had I not heard of this game before? So I bought it. I impulse bought it. It was only $40. It's on PC.
It was only $40.
This game is awesome. Like, honestly, not even kidding here, a Game of the Year contender. Very strong Game of the Year contender. So if you've played like Planescape Torment, it's very similar to that, I've heard. It's a very dialogue-heavy RPG. There's not a lot of combat, but there is some combat later on, depending on how you want to play things. But essentially, you're this detective guy who has. It's very, very heavily implied that you got some kind of mental health issues. It's as far I've gotten not that far in it, but like they haven't really expanded upon it yet. It's almost an amnesia kind of thing. You can't really you wake up blackout drunk in your apartment. You wake up with a really nasty hangover, and you turns out you're supposed to be solving a murder case. And you kind of try to piece together what you were doing over the past few days where you're supposed to be working, while also trying to piece together this case. The game is really dialogue heavy. Like you're talking to a lot of people, and what I think is really cool is like, since there's not a lot of combat, all of your skills are like personality traits pretty much. And there's a lot of skills. The character builds you can do in this game are nuts. But like your traits and your personality traits manifest themselves, and like you talk to yourself. So like if you have really high empathy, your empathy will talk to you. Or like really high logic, your logic will talk. Like you say you're talking to somebody and they're being sarcastic. If you have a really high skill, like the skill will speak to you and say, he probably doesn't mean that, or something like that. Huh. So like you kind of talk to your own, you have conversations in your head with all of your different skills, and they're all different depending on how high your skills are, which I think is really cool. But the writing in this game is hilarious. It is some of the best writing I've ever seen in a video game. Like ever. It's so funny, but it can also be like deeply profound at times, which is really cool. I like all the characters. I've only come across one party member so far. He's like your partner on this case, which I think is he's kind of like a stone cold cop kind of guy, but like he opens up. I think it's really cool. But like this is a really good RPG, then I think if you like RPGs, you should 100% be playing right now.
When you say if you like RPGs, conventional RPGs, Japanese RPGs, Western RPGs, or RPGs in general?
So if you like old school CRPGs, I think like Baldur's Gate, even more recent stuff like Divinity, like that, it plays like those, but it's not as serious because it's not like it's a contemporary modern setting and there's not a lot of combat. So it's an isometric perspective, and if you like games with good writing, you should play this game.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
well,
this is like must play. I think it's that good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just staring at some images and stuff. It looks really cool.
It's
like the art style is
so
insane.
good. It is unbelievably good. Just the way that the skills. I've played through the beginning of this game 3 times, just to see how things were going, and I played it on stream as well. It was so different every time. Like, just to put it in perspective, like my first playthrough, I woke up in this little room, my apartment, right, or it's more of a hotel room, with the nasty hangover. I woke up and I tried to get dressed. And there was a necktie on the ceiling fan, right? And it was a skill check to reach it. But the fan was on, so it was like a 30% chance to successfully grab the tie. But it also, like, the fan has like controls that you can pull. So I pulled the fan one to turn it off, and then the skill check went up to 80. But then the lights were off, so I decided to pull the lights on. And like, because I had such a nasty hangover and like the lights suddenly flushed on, I lost some health. Because like it physically hurt. But then I tried to reach for the tie and I missed the 80% skill check. And then a dialogue box popped up and said that there was an aching in my chest, and it was spreading to like my jaw and my arm. And then it cut to black, and I had a heart attack and died.
Wow.
So yeah, I fell in love with this game very quickly. There's some other you can fail skill checks in this game and still make progress. Because like I was talking to this one guy at one point, and I owed the hotel money because of like damages in the room. And there was a skill check to slip away unnoticed, and it was like 30%. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And I failed it because it was really low. But in failing it, my guy like just took off running, and he like turned around and gave the guy 2 middle fingers. But because he was turning around and he didn't see something, and he tripped over it, and he crashed into a lady in a wheelchair. And then he got unconscious for a second. But whenever I woke up, the guy was like, hey man, are you okay? You know what? Just forget about the money. It's fine. So that was cool. There's just so many little permutations in like different ways depending on how you build your character this game could play out, and I think that's really cool. And it's all wrapped up in like some excellent writing.
It does sound interesting. Yeah, I'll have to give that a try sometime next year because there's too many games coming out this year.
It might come to consoles too. I think they said ports are dependent on like how well this game sells, but it's blowing up. It's doing really well.
I guess if it's doing well on Metacritic and OpenCritic and possibly Steam, is it only Steam or
only on Steam?
Okay. Well, it's got a 93 on OpenCritic. That's pretty good. I wonder what Metacritic gave.
91 on Meta right now.
Yeah,
it was higher earlier this week. I don't know who gave it a low score.
Somebody's not too happy.
Low score is an 85. All right, that's what I'm looking at right now. I think
that's the low score.
Like, play this game. 100% play this game. That's my review.
All right, there we go. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and jump into our first topic. Microsoft has been talking a while about the Project xCloud private trials they were being conducting inside the company. And was it E3 2019? They mentioned that they were going to do public trials later this year. Well, a couple days ago, they started sending out emails for this public trial, and I didn't get access to it yet. I'm sitting here crying my ass off because I really want to try it, but there's been a bunch of people who actually talked about how it was. A couple people actually recorded their phones playing it, and the consensus right now is it's kind of mixed. There are a lot of people saying that it looks good, it runs okay, and other people saying that it's a lag fest. They can't do anything and it's gonna fail, which is kind of funny because all the positive stuff I heard were from inside people. And then I guess I don't know. I'm wondering what you guys think about this. We don't have access to it, obviously, but what do you think about the doom and gloom versus the high praise that it's getting right now? Have you guys been following that?
Yeah. I think like varied responses that we're going to see to all of these streaming services, because like just like any kind of streaming service, it's going to be your kind of experience you get is going to be dependent on what kind of connection you have. And of course, everybody has a different device, different kind of whether they're Wi-Fi or they're wired, either different connection no matter where they are. Like, of course, they're not all going to be good or bad. Like it's going to be a spectrum depending on what kind of connection that person has.
Yeah, and that's also very important because a lot of people don't take that consideration Are you on DSL or are you tethering? Are you on a nice gigabit connection? What ISP you have, Comcast, Fios, because not all IPs are equal.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we have a spectrum means it's working as intended. Because if they were all bad, then the service is bad. If they were all good, I would be a little suspicious. Like that, we have a lot of people that are saying it's good. A lot of people that are saying it needs some work. Like that's what we should be expecting at this point.
Yeah, there's too many circumstances for it to be 100% perfect all the time. Especially considering there's people who are probably, think it's totally worth going through and hardwiring in, get everything set up, as close to your router as possible or whatever. Everything's hardwired in, and then there are other people who are, they may sign up for it just because they're generally interested, but they don't really care. Everything could be on Wi-Fi and they'd be like, oh, it doesn't really work. I wonder why. They have no idea. I think for the most part, if it's like you see a lot of influencers who are probably saying good things about it, then that might make sense. It depends. But, for the most part, like obviously if you're kind of like 50-50 on it, which is mostly what I saw, like some people said, oh, this ran great. I didn't have any issues. Other times it'd be like, oh, I couldn't even get on. Like it would just take forever and then it wouldn't work. It's like we all said. I mean, the circumstances can change. Everybody has different everything, so it really kind of depends. But I mean, it's a good start for now. It seems like.
Do you think it's cheating if you're actually trying to get the better, what's the word I'm looking for, maximum latency removal, like using your Wi-Fi inside your house, or should you just be trying to use your phone's internet connection? Do you consider that cheating? Because most people. I think Microsoft wanted people to try this stuff outside on the go on their phone directly, not connecting to a Wi-Fi.
Right. Well, I think the thing is right now it's just running off the Xbox, right? So can you actually go beyond like the four walls of your house, or
no? This is being to you, so it's going directly to your phone, whatever it's installed onto, and it's only for Android right now. So obviously, you're like for me, I would use my T-Mobile plan, my T-Mobile data. Yeah, and that depends on like 3G, 4G, whatever you got. And I mean, I guess Wi-Fi is also part of it. I don't know. I would imagine it is because there's no way for the phone to know if it's on Wi-Fi or your mobile data. I'm more concerned about using it on the go. Like if I had my Switch and I was outside chilling and I tethered it to my phone, I would know how my mobile data is going to work.
Yeah, I think using it on the go outside, like on a commute or like at a restaurant sitting down waiting for something, like that's what they're testing for. They want to improve that experience, but I don't think it's like using it at home like with a wired connection. That's not like, that's also a use case for this too. Some people are going to end up using it like that. So I think you do want like a variety and a spectrum of like different people using it, but I'm sure that like mobile on the go out and about is like why they're testing it right now, because they want to nail that experience. And it's not going to be great right out of the gate, but like that's why we have tests.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised they didn't give us Forza on that, because they showed
that. Not one of the games? I thought it was like Forza, Halo, and like something else.
No, I think, let me go back to it.
I think it was Gears, Halo. They had Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
And Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, It wasn't. Yeah, because they were showing Forza at E3.
It's like one of their big showcase games for this.
Yeah, and it's not part of it. And I was like, wait, why is it not part of it? And I think that would be Killer Instinct also is a big game. It's a lot of fast movement and blocking.
Yeah, I think they're putting Killer Instinct on there just to prove a point, because it's a fighting game, and everybody always says fighting games don't work on these kind of things. But if they can get it working, that's going to be like that. That's a point proven right there. Like you can play Killer Instinct on xCloud, and it's pretty much the real deal.
Yeah, that was one of the few games where I didn't see very much, if at all. I don't think I saw a single impression of Killer Instinct, because
I imagine Killer Instinct in 2019.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean,
yeah,
everybody kind of jumps into Gears 5 just because like that's like the premiere. Like this is the most recent game that came out. Like it's got to look the best. So why wouldn't you try like the game to do it with? And makes sense. But I mean, if it is working for the most part, like I'd like to see like a good split on like who got good results, who didn't. I imagine they'll put something out about it. But yeah, I mean, if it works for now, it's impressive on its own. I mean, if we're not getting too many cases of just kicked me out, like it's a good sign, at least for now.
Yeah, I want to see more impressions on it, and I don't want to see more people talking about it, and I guess we will when Microsoft opens up the pool and lets more and more people in. But right now, from everything I've seen, there's no real this is great versus this is bad. It's just overall all right.
Yeah, well, it's a very limited test though, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
They
well, I
haven't
guess
said
next
they
month
haven't said which numbers.
We'll get another impression of a much larger streaming service, I think, because Stadia is out in 4 weeks. The Stadia Pro that people are paying for, so that's going to be interesting to see.
You know what? I didn't plan on talking about Stadia, so let's talk about that for a second, okay? All right. I was talking to a couple people about this a couple days ago, and they were all like, "You're a fool if you signed up for Stadia Pro founder." I was like, "Hey, I signed up for that, and I'm not a fool, but I can see where they're coming from because Google has yet to do any really heavy marketing for this.
There are no games.
Oh, and they
Why would you buy it?
There's nothing. There's nothing. There are one or two exclusive. No, one exclusive is nothing.
Yeah, it's Tequila Works' game, right? Guilt, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
and that,
yeah.
you're gonna beat that in like a few hours. Like that's not worth buying this. I don't think. Like
Right
wait till
now-
regular Stadia comes out, you can buy the game on its own.
I'm seriously thinking about just canceling my order if I can.
Why is it not included in Stadia Pro? Like why have they only shown one game that you get when you buy this thing? And it's Destiny. Like I love Destiny as much as the next guy, but like I'm not gonna buy into a completely new platform if you're gonna offer me Destiny, a game that is free. To be fair, they're giving the expansions, but still, yeah. Like, if you're not in a position like us, where like we're gonna cover it and like we have an obligation to like be in the know about these things. Like if you're just a casual consumer, don't buy this. Don't buy into the
please
Founders
don't.
Edition.
Yeah,
And
'cause
granted, it is important to note that it is in beta, quote
Yes.
unquote.
Yeah, I
so it
love
is
paying
not the
for
full
betas.
release.
The full release is
technically.
next year.
Yeah, but still, it is absurd to say the least. It's absurd that they are even just kind of like putting it because it was gonna have Doom 2, and I mean I guess it's not that. I don't think it would have come out.
The big kind of launch title they were pushing around, like their launch window was Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Red Dead's
There's
gonna
also
be on
that.
there. I'm not gonna buy it when it launches on PC like the week before.
Yeah.
No. I will not buy any game on Stadia that is already coming to the PC.
I just
or
think it's
console.
nuts that like you still have to pay $60 to buy these games that you're gonna stream.
Yeah.
It's nuts
Yeah.
to me.
The more I think about the service, and it is a service, the more I'm like, well, maybe this is not.
I think this service is gonna bank on Stadia Pro because that's like $10 a month and you get games, but like there needs to be more than just Destiny there at launch. Like they say they're gonna add more over the coming months, but like it needs to be multiple a month. Otherwise, I'm not gonna use this, Google.
No, I am not. I
need to give me games.
Have they even put out another stream recently? I remember they did just like one.
They had their reveal, and I was like, they need to do another one before launch with a bunch of games, and they did a very short one around like Gamescom, right?
Yeah.
And it was the worst. They only showed games we knew about. It was all third parties. They were like, you can play The Division 2 on Google Stadia. And it's like, I don't care. We just got a new Death Stranding trailer. I don't care, Google. Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Death Stranding had a 49-minute like gameplay demo, which is longer than the actual stream was for Stadia.
They had multiple demos for Death Stranding.
That's hilarious.
They are like, you will buy this game, even if you don't care about PlayStation, even if you don't care about Kojima, you will buy this game.
I'm just struggling to think of like games that are on Stadia that are worth playing because they are literally all AAA third-party games that are super generic and like have 80s on Metacritic and that no one's really going to care about because they're already on other platforms. Yeah, and they've been out for forever. They're like, you can buy The Division 2, you can buy Red Dead Redemption 2, you can buy Wolfenstein Youngblood and Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like these are not selling points for your top of the line.
Don't
brand
forget
new
Shadow of the
platform.
Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Man, what are they doing? Like they have all these like industry people that should know what they're doing. They hired like talented people to work on this thing. How are you launching without an exclusive killer app? It just makes no sense to me.
Because
and I guess, it's still in beta. Like if it's spring 2020 and regular Stadia base is out and they don't have like a killer AAA exclusive out, Google, what is going on? Like, do we need to talk? I don't understand. It's so simple. It is so easy. Console launches have happened every few years since video games have existed. How do you not know how to do this?
part of me is hoping that when it launches, like, oh, by the way, we have this game, and it'll show this game, like everybody will go, what is this game?
I think like the week before Stadia Pro launches, or like that before November ends, there needs to be a Stadia Connect where they say, hey, you got your Stadia Pro, you're playing Destiny 2. Some of you bought some games, but when Stadia base launches, when our full lineup rolls out, here's what our studios have been working on. Because they have a AAA studio. They have their own, it's Stadia Games and Entertainment, right? That's what it's called. They're making games. And man, I love Tequila Works as much as the next guy, but they can't sell a platform like this. Because this is even harder to sell than a console. Because this is the first fully streaming platform ever. That is a hard sell. You need to have heavy hitters. If you don't, you're dead in the water.
They don't have them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's just they don't have them yet because of there's no way they're dumb enough to launch with just Guilt as their title and like third parties that have Stadia support. Like that isn't. I'm not going to buy Ghost Recon Breakpoint in general, but I'm not going to buy it on Stadia because I can see my teammates' point of view. That's not enough for me to play on a streaming platform.
No, it is not.
And this just kind of seems like a big glorified test because otherwise they would have marketed it way more. Like this would not only have more games behind it, but we'd be seeing commercials. We'd be seeing ads for it everywhere. Like this would be an experience that people would want to like jump in and play. But I mean, there's no talk about it.
I think they're going to do that when Stadia base
talk.
launches because Pro right now it's paid. You had to get the pre-order, and it's going to be just enthusiasts in there right now. It's pretty much a beta test.
Yeah.
I think when the appeal of Stadia is people who don't own consoles seeing a commercial and then they can go open their phone, drop 60, and play the latest new game. The problem is those kind of like if you want to play the latest AAA game, especially at this point where consoles are getting cheaper and cheaper, you have a console or you have a PC.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're trying to target the hardcore gaming audience that doesn't have a way to play video games, which that audience is very, very, very slim. It practically doesn't exist. Like they want the mobile audience to play hardcore console games. They're not going to do that, especially when it costs $60 and it's a stream.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it doesn't seem like a good proposal on Google's part. I have no idea what's going on. We
had the same conversation a few months ago on the show when
we did.
Stadia had the big blowout,
and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, my opinion has not changed. The audience they are targeting does not exist.
Well, because they haven't done anything to change any of that. It's been the same message saying, "Hey, here's a game that you can get, and you can take it to your phone. Go for it."
Because they're just hoping that audience that doesn't have consoles, they want to play games. They just don't know it yet. No, Google, I just think they don't want to play games. Because at this point, if you want to play games, you have a console, you have a Switch, you have a PlayStation, you have a PC, you have a Nintendo DS, you have something, all right? You have an avenue to play these things.
Yeah, like if you're going to play a video game, you're going to buy the way to play the video game. It's not like you're going to sit there and be like, well,
Like I know money's an issue for a lot of people,
connection.
But like an Xbox One S or like a PlayStation 4 Slim, they're like $200. If you want one, you have one by now. It's been long enough. You have one. Okay.
Wait. So let's talk about the other snafu with Google Stadia. I don't know if you guys were paying attention this week. It was mentioned or it was noticed that in order to use Google Stadia on the Google Pixel phones, which is the only wireless device you can use it with, or laptops, you have to use the Google Stadia controller, the wireless controller, with a USB cable.
Yeah, it's not. It only works wireless on a Chromecast. I know we're technically in beta. How?
No.
Just Google. How? That's all I have to ask you.
Why would you do this? Why would you release this in this
format? You can't even use Bluetooth?
No. If you want to play on a phone, and it's not even all phones, it's just the Pixel phones right now.
They don't the only ones you can use it. Yeah, the only one you can use it on.
You have to wire it. How? You can use DualShock 4s and Xbox One controllers on iPhones. That's not even the same brand. Are you telling me you can't use the Google controller on the Google phone on the Google game service wirelessly?
Yep, that's exactly what they're saying.
I'm without words.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this.
It's ridiculous.
Glorified test.
Yeah, we're paying $129 for this test.
Man, what is going on at Google right now?
Oh, we have to buy the Chromecast. It doesn't come with it.
Yeah, it does. When you buy the Founders Edition, you get a Chromecast Ultra.
Because I was looking that up this week. I was like, does it come with it? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you get a Chromecast Ultra, the controller, and 3 months of Stadia Pro, as well as a 3-month subscription to gift.
Yeah, I guess the Chromecast. I know it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it.
So you don't get a game outright either.
You get Destiny because you get your Stadia Pro subscription for 3 months includes Destiny with all the expansions.
And why would
is, that's it. You have to buy the rest of your games for $60 because they're not going to be discounted.
And as much as I've been doing with Destiny 2, why would I go to a platform where I have to start from scratch? Because cross save does. Wait, is cross save working on Stadia?
They said it will be. We just don't know at launch. With the way things are, no.
Yeah, that just kills it for me. Completely kills it.
Unbelievable. Just how? I was expecting them to have like killer apps. I was expecting to be hyped for a Stadia title by this point, but like,
nope.
It's Ghost Recon. Like of all the games you could have picked. Oh man.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait to get mine.
You're gonna put it on the shelf.
Yeah, no,
I'm-
there's nothing to put on the shelf. It's the cloud.
It's a controller and a Chromecast.
Yeah, I'll put my Chromecast on
Yeah.
display.
All
Get a
right.
little
All
stand
right.
for it.
Yeah, there's going to be a good old term for this release.
All right.
Dead on arrival.
Let's get off of that.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to turn into
Man. At least
kick
I
the
can
dead
use the
horse.
Chromecast.
That's true.
Well, why? If you have a smart TV, there's no reason.
That's true.
There's no reason.
At
I don't
least
think you can buy a TV that isn't a smart TV anymore.
Yeah, those don't exist anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So this is
Actually,
bad.
I still have my old one. Still works.
Xbox had been teasing a new Elite controller for quite some time, and a couple months ago they showed it off, and they mentioned it would be shipping in November. Well, a couple of people actually got their hands on it. If you actually won one of the new Xboxes from Taco Bell, you ended up getting one of the Xbox One Elite controller series 2. Damn, that's a long name.
Live Moss.
Yeah, I'm not. No, as much as I want to try one of those controllers, my luck sucks.
Was it with Xbox and Taco Bell promotions? Because I swear every few months there's a new Taco
they
Bell
have,
Xbox.
yeah, they have a promotion. And
Yeah,
two,
Mountain
Taco
Dew,
Bell was bad for me.
Doritos.
I am not
Keep it going.
buying Taco Bell. I make my own damn tacos. No. So I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the original Xbox One Elite controller, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to talk about the impressions so far because this new controller has USB-C, which is great. It has rechargeable batteries, which is something owners of the
God.
owners of the
Finally.
original Elite have been asking for. And it feels just as good as the first one. And it has Bluetooth now as well. All Xbox controllers now have Bluetooth. So this kind of one-ups the original Elite controller. And I really want one.
How much is it?
$179. Same as the other one.
That's a lot of money for a controller.
So $179, but you're getting the premium Xbox controller. And it's probably... See, you got the scuffed controllers as well. And they're pricey as well. So this is going to be if you're a hardcore gamer who likes using Xbox controllers and on your PC and obviously on your Xbox One. For me, I use my Elite on my PC. But my only problem is I've owned 3 Xbox One Elite controllers. 3 since they first came out. I got my first one when they first announced it and I pre-ordered it and I got it. And I played with it for a long time. And then my right trigger or my right bumper became loose, kept coming loose. And eventually it broke off. I contacted Microsoft, say, hey, this shit broke. What's going on? And they told me to take it to one of the Microsoft stores. Took it to one of the Microsoft stores. Excuse me. And they told me they couldn't do anything about it. And I have to send it to Microsoft. So I was already pissed off then. So I sent it to Microsoft and it never got there. The USPS, United States Postal Service, shanghaied my controller. So somebody out there got a broken Xbox One Elite controller. 3 months later, I said I wanted the controller, so I went and purchased another one. And about 4 months later, the very same thing happened. The right bumper got so loose that it was unresponsive. So I went down to the Microsoft store again. I was like, look, I just got this thing a couple months ago. This is bull. I didn't pay $100-something for a controller that falls apart. And the manager listened to me. He heard me. He was like, all right, here's another controller. We're not going to go through the regular channel. So he gave me the controller, which is pretty cool. And I still have that controller, but I don't use it as much. But it still works better than the first 2 controllers that I had. That said, a lot of people also complained that quality control on the first controller was not really up to par. A lot of people kept having issues with the thumb, either the left or the right analog coming off or becoming very loose, the bumpers coming loose. And I gotta wonder, the people that are hyping up this new controller, have they ever owned the original one? And if so, are they paying attention to the sore spots from the first one? I mean, I would imagine Microsoft would get their act together. They have really committed to pushing the Xbox hardware, and the Surface hardware has been nothing but amazing. And it's the same teams, I believe, overlapping, working on this stuff. So I really want this new controller, but at the same time, I'm kind of hesitant because I've had so many issues with the first one. I don't know.
That's totally understandable. I mean, in my opinion, kind of even when the Xbox One came out, like their hardware was mostly good. Like the 360 controller had a lot of issues and stuff too, mostly because the D-pad was silly. But the rest of it, like, pretty good. I never really had many issues with it. The only main concern that I had, and it's like surprising that now is when they've started to do it, is that even the Xbox One controller always ran on batteries. You had to buy it at base value. It was run on batteries. You had to pay for a separate rechargeable kit, which was absurd to me. But I feel like they've made like a lot of proper steps, and I feel like now, they wouldn't want to make the same mistakes that they did again before. Because I remember when the first Elite controller came out, there were tons of stories of people with drift, thumbsticks breaking off, and bumpers breaking off, triggers breaking off, like the under controller pad thingies. I don't even know what to call them. Shifters, paddle shifters.
Yeah, the shifters.
Yeah. Even those ones would just like snap right off. Like they just, you press it once and just break right off like a toothpick. Like it was insane because there's a huge deal about that back when they first came out. I mean, it was relatively quiet after that. I mean, they kind of just slowly fixed everything over time, and well, that might depend on if less people bought them, but you didn't really hear much about it after that. They must have done something right. And the Xbox One controller that I bought a little after the lifespan, like when it first came out, I think it was about a year or two after. It was right before they started doing like the custom controllers that you could do. So I got like it was like a space themed one. It's got like the gold triggers and the white coloring to it, and it's always been great. Granted, I had to buy the charge kit or whatever with it because, of course, it had to be at base level, comes with batteries, and you had to plug it in. But, I mean, I've never had any issues with mine. Granted, I use it about 50-50 between a PS4 controller and an Xbox One controller. I mean, I play PC, so I kind of just pick and choose if I want to use one or the other. I haven't really had any issues with it. So, I mean, I think they've always just kind of iterated on something that kind of first starts off not so great, and they've gotten better about it. So I would be hopeful. I think it's probably going to be a great controller, but
so
really
what does this do that the original Elite doesn't?
USB Type-C, Bluetooth. That's it, basically.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a newer revision.
You can charge it though. You don't have to use you don't have to buy a separate kit.
Do we think the next generation Xbox controller is going to be battery still, or do we think it's going to have rechargeable?
No way.
No, it's still going to be batteries. It's going to be batteries.
Okay, yeah. So we're all on the same board on that. All right.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. I actually enjoy that a lot more than having a built-in battery, because we all seen issues with the DualShock controllers, and when those batteries went south, it was like, oh, replace it yourself or buy a new controller. And I think that's what Microsoft doesn't want.
So you think they're going to still make you have batteries with the controller?
Yeah.
Rob, do you think it's going to be rechargeable or no?
Honestly, I think they'll probably go rechargeable. There's no reason why they wouldn't. If Nintendo is willing to do that at this point, then why wouldn't Microsoft? It doesn't make sense. And I mean,
we shouldn't talk about Nintendo and their quality control. Last thing I heard, the Switch Lights are having the drift issue. So
hey man, if where there is hardware, there are hardware faults. It's bound to happen. Maybe not to the extent that Joy-Con drift happens, but
ooh.
Hey, but at least they're paying to fix it. I mean, you had to go to a Microsoft store and you had to ship it out to them.
They're paying to fix it now. But they're doing it now. I don't blame Microsoft for losing my controller. I blame the UPS. UPS has lost, and I'm doing air quotes here, a lot of my things. My Xbox One Elite controller, $500 camcorder. They've lost a lot of my stuff. My PAX East tickets that I sent to somebody, I've lost a lot of stuff through the mail.
But this controller's what, $180?
Yeah.
I can get an Xbox for that, man. I don't know.
But if you want the best of the best of the best, sir, you want that.
Yeah. It is a nice looking controller. There's a lot of things that you can do with that controller. But that's just a lot of money for a controller.
I really wish Microsoft would take the older Elites as a trade-in. I'm like, hey, give me like
an upgrade program?
Yeah, like give me $75. I purchased your first controller.
Maybe $120 or like $130, but like $180? You can buy like 3 games with that, man.
Yeah.
When I got what did I buy? When I bought an Xbox One. I don't remember. The Xbox One had the Elite controller with it. I don't remember which one it was, because I've upgraded my Xbox multiple times. The original Xbox One, and then when the what was the newer version called?
S.
What, the S?
Well, when the S came out, they had an Elite version of that, and I bought that, and it came with the controller.
Huh.
Did the One X come with an Elite controller, or was it a standard one?
It's a standard.
It was a standard one. Yeah.
Even the Project Scorpio edition came with the standard?
Yep.
Huh.
Funny story about the Xbox One Scorpio edition controller. Somehow mine's disappeared.
Did the controller have marking on it too, or is it just the console?
It had on the bottom of it. I have mine. Hang on.
Because I know that the console says Scorpio and it has like a gradient.
Yeah, the controller has it too.
Does the controller say Scorpio? Oh.
Yeah, going through the middle of the controller, going downwards, it says Project Scorpio.
You guys remember when the Xbox One launched? like if you bought it day one, your controller said
Oh
day
yeah,
one
had the
edition,
day one thing,
and all your
yeah.
games said day one. That was
Yeah.
so tacky. I was so
Yeah.
mad when mine had that on there. My controller was forever scarred.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. I remember pre-ordering. I was like, "Oh, it says day one on it. That's cool."
I was just trying to play Dead Rising, man. I had to look down and see my controller said day one. Don't remind me.
Yeah, I canceled my pre-order.
Oh,
So shame, but PlayStation.
What if they'll do it
Alright.
again? Day
No, I
one
don't-
edition Xbox.
I
Whatever
don't
it's
think
called.
I don't think they'll do that again.
That was such a 2013 Microsoft move.
I mean,
Kinect and
even
a day
looking
one
at
controller.
the Project Scorpio controller, it's not bad. I don't mind that green text running down the middle of the controller. That's not bad.
But still, day one edition marked your entire. I think the console said it too. No, not the console, but the controller and all the games did. That's such a Don Matrick move.
They could have come up with a really good idea, like Founders Edition, Forerunners Edition.
Your
like,
controller
you could
just
come
said
up with
day
any
one on it.
reference,
That's
like-
so lame.
Yeah.
And you had to have your Kinect plugged in. Man, what a time 2013 was.
All right, let's get off that. So there's a game coming out very, very soon that I initially wasn't as hyped for it then as I am now. You know, that game being Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which we've said at the beginning of the show is a bad name. Really is.
Hate that name.
It is really
It
dumb
needs a couple more colons.
because I'm like Star Wars Jedi Fallen
the
Order.
adventure, the Force, lightsaber duels.
Returns.
Strikes back. Oh god. So I'm really
Rise
looking
of
forward to
Skywalker
this
edition.
because there's so much going for this
That's only
game
for
right now.
pre-order. Anyway.
You know, they've got Respawn worked on it because the game is now gold. The people that gave us Titanfall and Titanfall 2, they've also got a lot of elements that I liked. For example, a lot of, I don't want to say Dark Souls, I want to say Sekiro. How do you want to pronounce that name?
Because it has like a stamina or like a stun gauge for our enemies,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
Sekiro has.
And apparently they didn't take that from that game because I talked to one of the developers and he was like, we were actually working on this game along the same time that they were working on this game and we didn't know that they were doing this. It's kind of funny that they both have similarities.
I mean, it's not like a completely original idea, but it is funny they're doing it in pretty similar ways around the same time.
And
a few months out.
they did say that they are fans of From Software. You know, a lot of them were big fans of
who isn't?
Kingfields. I know a couple of people who weren't fans of that.
Even if you don't like those games, like even if you personally don't like Souls games, you still have to admire what like that team does.
Yeah.
Unless
I'm
you
in that boat.
unless you're
I
talking about
never
Dark
liked
Souls 2.
Games. I like Sekiro,
Oh, Dark
but
Souls 2?
I didn't like Dark Souls at all.
The internal debate of which Dark Souls is the best one there. Somebody says Dark Souls 2 and everybody turns around and looks at them like, what?
Oh, you're that guy.
I haven't played it, but I don't agree with that.
Uh-oh. So, who else is looking forward to this game other than myself? Because when we saw the gameplay came out, we finally got some really decent gameplay from the previews a couple days ago. Holy crap! I'm in.
These previews are glowing. Like they're really, really good previews.
Yeah.
And, like everybody got hands on with it. But like when I first saw Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, like I've talked about this on the show before. Like I wasn't too hot on it. I thought it would look kind of generic and like just okay.
Yeah,
and
then,
the
what
gameplay
was it?
they showed at E3 was kind of lame. But then I heard it was like a Metroidvania, and I'm like, why aren't they showing all this stuff? And the story trailer that I saw when that released, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on board. But like now all these glowing previews for sure.
Oh
like,
yes,
sold me
these
on this
previews
game.
are so good.
But, like,
And
I
they
feel
just keep
they're
coming
not
out. They're
showing,
great.
like the best parts of these games. Like they should be showing the exploration. They should be showing like story moments. They should be showing like how the Metroidvania elements work. Because right now it just looks like a really, really bad Uncharted knockoff, which that's not what this game is.
Yeah. I would rather them keep the exploration under wraps, just because I don't want to see anything. These kind of games, I just want to go in and completely blind. And unfortunately, the way that media works right now, it's really impossible unless you stay off the net. It's just like, oh, look at this. This is great. You can go to a post and be like, oh, hey, look, it's Star Wars.
But I still think they could have like done more to show what this game is, because I guarantee there's a lot of people out there who still think it's going to be like a 6 to 8 hour completely linear Uncharted game, but in a Star Wars costume. But that's not what this is at all. That's what I thought it was until a while ago. Because like if you only saw the E3 blowout and you only seen the trailers, that's what this game looks like. And it
I
looks
wonder how long
like
this game is going to be. I wonder.
Aren't there like reports that it's like 30-ish hours, or am I thinking of another game?
I heard something like 20 hours. There was like an estimate out there, I think.
Yeah, which is a good length for this kind of game, I think.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this game is it seems like it was built on a foundation of a very Uncharted like Star Wars game. Like they started with this linear idea and then from there kind of built upon it.
Yeah,
that's
has
the impression that I
scrapped
get.
like 4 of those like linear story focused Star Wars
13,
games.
13.
Oh
man. Solo.
Yeah. I remember seeing stuff for Star Wars 13, and I was like, wow, this looks good. And they were like, oh, It's gone. Sorry.
Sorry.
But
Yeah.
I think this game will make up for it.
that. Oh, my bad.
I think this game will make up for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially now that like we're pretty sure that it's going to be good, very good even. I don't know if it'll be a game of the year contender, but
People won't stop talking about it. I don't know. It could be contender of the year. It could
if
be.
it's as good as these previews are saying it is, I could see it being in the nominees at the Game
You know,
Awards.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen one negative preview of this game. Not.
I haven't seen one okay preview. Every preview I've seen is like this game is special.
I've seen a couple. They're like it's all right, but I didn't see anything that was like, nope, this is crap. Nope, this is super crap. Nope, I don't want to play it.
Yeah,
I've seen a couple going, nah, I don't know. I'm not really sure about it.
It keeps getting a lot of comparison to God of War, like 2018 God of War.
It's for good reason though.
Yeah, and I mean they're saying like it's like more exploratory. You can kind of go around and do whatever you want, and like obviously that succeeded so well with God of War. I'm not going to be surprised if you can do exactly that in this game, and it's just as good. The only weird thing I had about it, just from what I've seen and what I've heard about it, is that not a whole lot of people talk about the movement in the game, which I kind of wanted to touch on, just because it looks very, not like archaic, but it just looks a little weird. I don't know if you guys have noticed that too, but a lot of the time, like sometimes like jumping just looks a little weird. Like it hops into an animation and that looks great, but then when you jump out of it and you're going towards something else, like if you're trying to, mix up your movement or whatever, it just looks a little off.
I don't know.
The best example for me is like when you're mid combat and if you do a roll, it's almost like unnaturally smooth. It's a little weird. And like also when you're like platforming and stuff, like your double jump is a literal front flip, but if you do it towards like a wall, you just like click onto the wall. Like it just looks a little off to me. I don't really know why. Other than that though, it looks great. It's just there was like some of the stuff, and maybe they can iron it out before it releases, but I was just like,
it's already gold. It's already gold, man. But we don't know what kind of build the people had access to, but this game is already gone.
They're
gold.
still working on it though, man. They're patching it. Get the day one patch ready. Still
I hope this game doesn't have a day one patch. I want one game
with gigabytes with the way games are right now.
I want one game to come out that doesn't require a patch. Just one damn game.
Death Stranding.
Yeah. That
oh my god!
It has a small patch though. I think it's like only a few hundred megabytes.
I don't even want to see a patch for Death Stranding.
They've confirmed that it's small for the day one patch. I'm pretty sure.
Why do we have patches? Jesus.
Well, because games go gold, and like back in the day, like it was done. You would go to your next project, but now like they're still fine tuning it and making it better. It's not an issue. I mean, the devs are just gonna sit there.
Yeah, but some people would use that as a scapegoat. We couldn't get it done, so yeah. I don't want to see that.
Outer Worlds is like a massive, like 20 gig patch.
Can we talk about Outer Worlds too?
PC, so yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We're just deviating off the agenda
that game's gonna
here.
be so good, right?
I want to play it so bad.
It comes out on Thursday night. PC comes out early.
Hey, if you have Game Pass, you can play it.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass day one. Microsoft bought that team.
That's the only reason why I'm playing it. It's on Game Pass.
Man,
I'm
this
just
is
gonna
so
hop
cool.
Wait, is it going to be on Game Pass for PC as well?
I have it preloaded right now.
Yeah.
It comes out at 6 p.m. My time on PC Thursday night on Game Pass.
I don't want to take off work another Friday. Oh man,
Dude, Modern Warfare drops on the same day too.
Yeah, I know.
And like I've been watching that story trailer over and over again. I'm gonna play that campaign in one sitting.
I'm really excited.
And I think I'm gonna cry. I don't know, man. It looks like it's gonna be really good.
I think I'm gonna have to stream that. Of course, so is everybody else who's gonna play the game. So that's gonna be
Outer Worlds though, because Modern Warfare is gonna be a little popping. So
I think both of them are, to be honest with you. There's both those games are gonna be.
They're two
streamed
distinct
heavily.
audiences. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just as good. They're alongside one another.
I will tell you, the Outer Worlds wasn't really on my radar, but then I started watching the trailers and listening to all the comments about the game and reading up about the game, and it's like I can do whatever I want to do.
Mm-hmm. It's Obsidian, but like they're making a more focused, shorter RPG, so you can have more choice. It's brilliant.
So I can basically do what I did in Mass Effect and still do what I need to do and be a complete ass to everybody.
Yeah, but I think you'd have more freedom in Mass Effect too. Like this is going to be like a 10 to 20 hour game, but like it's almost infinitely replayable. I can't wait. I cannot wait to get my hands on this game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Great time to be a gamer,
Outer
guys.
Worlds, a lot of people are confusing it with a game called Outer Wilds.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't heard of Outer Wilds, go play that game right now. It's on Game Pass. That is a wonderful space exploration game that I have not finished yet because other things got in the way. But like, man, that game's brilliant. Do not confuse them for the same thing. That is just unfortunate naming. That there
Yeah.
are two games called Outer Wilds and Outer Worlds.
That is interesting.
One of
That
them
is
has
actually
the-
very funny.
games.
Say again?
I said one of them has a the. I think it's the
Yeah,
Outer Worlds.
But nobody
Yeah.
says the Outer Worlds though. People say Outer Worlds,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's just gonna happen.
and they see Outer Wilds. They're like, isn't that the game Obsidian's making? Like, no. I feel bad for that dev team.
So we already have this at home, Mom. Go home. That's the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, Outer Worlds at home.
Oh, that's definitely gonna happen.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that game's good though. I think everybody should give that game a shot. It's surprising, and it makes you do a lot of things that don't normally happen in video games, which is cool.
Or just put on your back burner because again, the sheer amount of games coming out this year is
And
just
they're
like.
both on Game Pass. Man, Game Pass is cool.
I think we just talked about this last time, didn't we? How great Game Pass was.
We always talk about how great Game Pass is.
Let's talk about that again. Game Pass is freaking awesome.
They keep
If you
adding
don't have
games.
it, get it. Seriously,
They
if you
keep
don't have
adding
it,
games
I
that are
would
like
hope they
relevant.
would.
Well, like PlayStation now adds games every month, but they add like NBA 2K16, like not even the new one, like old ones. Like what are you doing? Like you need to
Why?
add games that matter and not just for 3 months.
they'll get
Yeah.
it. They'll get it. They'll realize
Whereas I
that they
open up
made a
Game
mistake.
Pass every Game Pass, like they have their scheduled games that they drop every week, and then they have like they shadow drop surprise games. They're like, hey, yeah, this is out too now on Game Pass. Like I open up the PC app every couple days, and there's always something new, and it's always something that I add to my backlog because it's something I need to play because they're good games on there. But yeah, that's good. Sometimes I'll just search for a game and it's on Game Pass, and I didn't even know.
Do you know if they put out a time frame if they're gonna take a game off? I don't think they have
Yeah,
a thing
they-
like that, do they?
If they are gonna take one off, they took off like some of the Lego Star Wars games, I think, or something like that. They'll let you know.
Okay.
They'll give you a few months heads up.
Oh,
Yeah.
And in the app,
it's not
there's
instant.
a leaving Game Pass section,
Okay, cool.
but they
Yeah.
rarely do that. So
Oh look, there's here. Install the Auto Wilds right now. Yeah, I'll do that right now.
it's only like a 10 megabyte download right now, but like once we get closer to launch, it'll preload the full game as an update.
I did ask to get a review copy of this, and they said we were not sure. We'll get back to you. So hopefully, fingers crossed that I'll get it a day early. We'll see about that.
Oh, I thought I
there we go.
requested that.
We
Huh.
all requested it.
Oh yeah, I guess we all did, didn't we? Because everybody wants it.
You can have it. I didn't.
I asked
Oh.
it for Xbox One and PC, so whatever one we get. You have Xbox, Diego?
Yeah, I have everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Alright, there we
Wait,
go.
you have a Virtual Boy too?
I can emulate a Virtual Boy on my Oculus Rift. All right. I have means of playing games.
Oculus Rift. Oh, I saw a video this weekend that said, "Hey, don't get rid of your Oculus Rift just yet." Your
Yeah, I
Oculus
saw
Rift
that
S."
too. Because they're saying the Quest tracking quality and the image quality is not going to be that great. Which obviously it's going through a USB-C cable. It's not going to be ideal. But
They made me feel a little better.
yeah, I think it. Like I know you're like, and if you're an enthusiast about these kind of things, like keep a Rift S. That's going to be the premier. Unless you have a Valve Index, that is the premier way to experience VR.
And if you
Nice.
have an Index, can I come over and play it? Holy shit!
Man, yeah, me too. Because I really want to try the Knuckles controllers. Man, VR games. You got Asgard's Wrath is phenomenal. Stormland's coming out 2 days after Death Stranding. I'm not going to be able to pull myself away from that game to try out Stormland. And then you got Boneworks coming out before the end of the year, hopefully. So like a lot of cool stuff.
So wait, when we have a podcast when Death Stranding comes out, I'm going to ask everybody, "Hey, what are you playing?" It'll be Death Stranding, basically.
I'm probably gonna hop into Stormland too, just
Actually,
to talk
that's
about it
not
on the
true.
show.
because I'm doing a review for Need for Speed. So
I
I'll
thought
have
you were gonna do
impressions
Death
for
Stranding.
that. No, we swapped. Remember, you're gonna do Death Stranding. I'll do.
Oh, am I doing
Need for
Death Stranding?
Speed.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
thought I gave you Death Stranding. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool.
Because
I'll
I'm
review,
doing
I'll
Outer
review the baby
Warfare,
game.
and you're doing Outer Wilds.
Yeah,
You're doing
Worlds.
Outer World. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also Trails of Cold Steel 3 comes out this week as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, I've been done with that game for a long time. It feels.
Did you
so
finish
weird.
it?
Yeah, I reviewed it. My review's up.
I thought you didn't finish it. You did finish. I saw the review. I
We
wasn't sure
didn't
if you
talk about it
finished
on
it.
the podcast. That's the only thing.
Oh, they're not talking about that game?
we didn't talk about it last
sworn
week
I did.
because
Can I
it was
talk about it
embargo.
right now? Oh, yeah, I was gonna talk about it this week. Oh, okay, I'm gonna mention that now. Yeah, I played Cold Steel 3, guys.
Let me just
There you
keep
go.
amending these.
New
I
notes.
guess. Well, I didn't talk about it in the games we're playing this week section because I didn't play it this week. You know, my review went up like forever ago. Yeah, that game's good. Like really good. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really like that game. It's my favorite Trails game so far. And I say so far because I want to play the older ones. Not Cold Steel, but like In the Sky. And then I want to play the Crossbow games, which are not translated. There's a fan patch out there. But yeah, man, I was really looking forward to this game, and it blew me away on every level. The presentation, the production quality, because it's on PS4 now, it's so good. The characters are like the best they've ever been. The combat has been improved in ways that I didn't think they could even do, because I love the Trails combat. It's strategic and challenging, and they added like so many more layers to it. This game is long. It doesn't like the first 2 Trails games of Cold Steel games. Like they have some pacing issues, especially the first one. Like in the first game, it just kind of the story doesn't really start until like the very end, because the first 2 games were supposed to be one big game initially, but then they got too long. and they had to release the first game as like 1 and 2 are essentially like one story, but 3 is like its own thing. It's really good, and man, what a cliffhanger ending! I need 4 now. 4 is out in Japan already. We have no word on a U.S. localization, but man, if you like RPGs, you need to be playing Trails of Cold Steel. It's so good. If you like JRPGs, I should say, because they're a little more harder to recommend than something like Disco Elysium, which I feel like everybody will enjoy because that game's writing is stellar. But man, Trails of Cold Steel, do not sleep on it. Like I saw the PlayStation account tweet for the 4 games that are coming out this week, and it was like Modern Warfare, Outer Worlds, Cold Steel 3, and Medieval. But you know how we feel about that game. And I'm like, oh man, one of these games is going to get overshadowed, and it is unfortunately not Medieval. It is Trails of Cold Steel 3.
I don't know. There's a lot of Japanese role-playing games fans out there. It may
I feel
not.
like this one's getting marking. It'll be a success. The Falcom games always are, but like
it doesn't really need to be a success. I mean, it's coming over.
It'll turn a profit. It'll only sell a couple 100,000 copies. You know, like it's not like a huge budget game, but like, man, these games need more attention. And that's why I never stop talking about them, because I feel like there are people out there who would love these games who don't even know they exist. Because that was me earlier this year.
I think the problem is with Japanese role-playing games over the years, they're still more of a niche game or a niche genre. And unless they're like Final Fantasy, they just won't get a lot of play. They just won't. That's just how it is anymore.
Yeah. And I feel like the budget for these games, especially, like their animations are really, really stiff looking. Like character models aren't the greatest. The environments are repeated. They're very anime. Like some of the characters in this game don't wear a lot of clothing and they look a little young. It's niche JRPG stuff, but man, these are good games. That's my bit on that. Go read my review. It's up on the Outer Haven.
Yeah, it's tough for JRPGs, honestly. Just because like things like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, like even though they are very JRPG, they're pretty well generalized so that they can appeal to not only, you know, like Eastern audiences, but Western audiences too. Like there's a very clear, like, you know, tailoring it for everyone to enjoy, not just necessarily the very specific, like JRPG hardcore fans right then and there. So, I mean, it's understandable if it's going to be tough for it to get mainstream acclaim, but it's definitely for sure going to get plenty of love from anybody who's looking for a JRPG or is fans of the series. Like it's going to do fine. It's just a matter of...
I'm just glad it's getting great reviews, because the first 2 games reviewed fine, but like I was looking at the Reset Era review thread, and man, people love this game, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised we got a release over here, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
4's been out in Japan for a long time now, but please give me at least a date, or like say you're working on it. Because 3 got delayed. Look how long it took for 3 to come out. Well, yeah, because that game came out in 2017 in Japan, when the Switch was brand new, and now here we are. But that game ran into several like production roadblocks, and it got delayed a few times. But man, this game is gonna do so much better than the first 2. Just give us 4, like now, please send me your code. I'll play it in Japanese. I just want to see how this saga ends. Because Cold Steel 4 is called Cold Steel 4 End of Saga. Like it'll be the last Cold Steel game before they start up another Trails of something. But man, it's so good. Great JRPG right there.
Sega needs to learn a thing or two about that and finally start bringing back Phantasy Star games. Not that Phantasy Star Online shit. No, Phantasy Star. Give us Phantasy Star, please.
I hope like Sega, with like how Atlas has been blowing up recently, and like now because it's getting turn-based combat, I hope they realize like they're sitting on a gold mine of RPG franchises and IPs.
The Shining series, the Phantasy Star series. Oh my god, Shining was so good when it first came out.
Sega in general is sitting on a gold mine of IP that they refuse to use.
Yeah,
like Monkey Ball.
Well, we got a Monkey Ball coming out finally.
Banana Blitz though. At least we're getting one.
At least we're getting one. All right, folks. So there was a segment you wanted to do for the last couple of podcasts, but we kept putting it off. But we're going to do it today. We're going to actually do it this time. And this basically was what got us into gaming. It's going to be very varied. Who wants to go first?
I wanted to clarify something real quick. Did we referring to just being into the industry itself, or just like video games as a whole?
I think
I'm a child who played this. We'll do both. I'm totally fine with that. I just wasn't sure which one you wanted
let's
to
do both. I think that'd be really interesting.
Okay, cool.
So who's going first? Rock, paper, scissors. Who's going first?
I played Rock.
I got scissors.
I guess I'll go first. Sweet. So I guess I'll start with the ye old little Rob, tiny boy living with his.
What's the setting? What year? Is it cold? Is it snowing outside? Christmas? What is it?
Yeah, take me there.
I want to say it was the summer. I was like maybe 5 years old-ish. Actually, I might have been younger. I think it was like 4. I had an older brother. We're 7 years apart, so he would have been, let's see, 7. 12, I think. He was around 12 or 13. His first consoles were, and my first consoles, by proxy, were the PlayStation 1 and the Nintendo 64. The first game that I ever really played, quote unquote, was Final Fantasy VII, just because my brother was willing to appeal to me for just a second to laugh at me while I try to do things on the controller, because I have no idea what I'm doing in a JRPG that pretty recently came out, and I had no idea what I was doing. And he was laughing at me because I was running through the menus and removing materia and not knowing what I was doing. And it was really funny. So he laughed at that. But that was like the first game I ever played. And then I ended up coming back to it years later, and I loved it. And it was amazing because I actually understood what was going on. And I wasn't just doing random battles in a field against the frog enemy forever and then laughing when I became a frog. So I actually played the game, and it was great. And then from then on, it just kind of snowballed. I started just like going through my brother's collection, just like steal an N64 cartridge from under his bed and go and play for a little while. That's what introduced me to shooters. I played GoldenEye, as most other people did. That's the first shooter I ever played. And I loved James Bond. I was a big Pierce Brosnan fan before I knew there were other Bonds. So I played a lot of GoldenEye, which was great. And then I kind of moved on from there. I played a lot of Nintendo games, specifically Star Fox 64 was pretty much all of my childhood. I love that game. It's the best Star Fox bar none, and they should make more of that game, not Star Fox Zero. And but I played the crap out of that game. I played it all the time. I didn't know that you could save, and I don't think I had the memory card thing, so I would just play the thing over and over again, and it was always just as fun every time I played. I would take the different routes or whatever, and I had a wonderful time with it. And then from there, I just kind of like kept playing over and over again. And as we started going on, like we would move on to the next generation relatively immediately. Got the first giant 30-pound brick PS2 when it came out, and played a lot of JRPGs on that. Was introduced to Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy 12. Played what was it? I think they did Grandite 2, or was that still PlayStation 1? I don't even remember. But it was that. We played Suikoden or Suikoden. I used to call it Suikoden because I was the uncultured swine. But I played a lot of that too. And then from there, I was introduced to Kingdom Hearts, which was like my big, this is why I love RPGs in general, and Kingdom Hearts is my favorite series of all time. I loved it, and it was super fun. I love Final Fantasy, so I was like, it was great to have all these Disney movies that I hadn't seen in a while, and be like, oh, I remember this movie, and then it'd just be like, this dude with a giant key thwacking weird anime like enemies and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And so that got me into like just video games in general. And then after that, I just didn't stop. I bought whatever and I played whatever. And then it just kept going on from there. I moved on to the 360 after that. And I just kept going from there, because then I actually got a job in high school and started paying for my own games, and it spiraled from there. So here I am now, paying too much money to play video games. And yeah, it's been great. Wouldn't change it for anything else.
Now you're here.
Yeah.
All right, Diego, you're next.
Oh, I'm up.
Yeah, man.
All right, let me take you guys back to a time when things were much simpler. I think I was around 4 years old, all right? I honestly don't remember anything before this. This is like one of my first memories. So I was sitting in my room, dumb little stupid 4-year-old kid doing whatever dumb stupid little 4-year-olds do. And I think my parents walked in with like, I don't remember how the exchange went down, but I got a PS2 somehow. I think my dad just kind of bought it because it was like, oh, there's a new hot craze. No games. It was a controller and a demo disc, but there was one game on the demo disc that I remember vividly and that I had fallen in love with, and that was Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. And I played this demo for hours and hours. All right. Now, I don't remember much of my early gaming career. All I remember is that I have memories of games that I would play like a lot, and going back and playing them now, like they're really short. So I don't know if I just like replayed them, or if I just remember like specific afternoons where I played these games very vividly. But I played stuff like whatever kids play. I had a GameCube too, so I would play like Wind Waker, I would play like Mario Kart, things like that. On PS2, I'd play like Dragon Ball Z games, even though I like had no familiarity with that. I just played a lot of those games. Yeah, but as a kid, mainly PS2 and GameCube. I never had an Xbox. But everything changed when I got a PS3. All right, because that's whenever I start to have like memories of what I played. Because PS2 and GameCube era, I'm nostalgic for a lot of those games, but most of it's a blur. All right, so I get a little older. I think I'm in like late elementary school, early middle school when the PS3 came out, and I got a PS3 after begging my parents to get me one because I was a little dumb kid. I didn't have a job. And I got a PS3 with one game, and my first PS3 game. I think this is the funniest thing. You guys want to guess what my first PS3 game was?
Resistance.
Oh man, I wish.
Medieval?
Oh man, I wish. No, I got Sonic the Hedgehog.
What?
The bad one.
Oh,
Sonic
06?
06? Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So me being like 9, I had no idea what a bad game was. So like I am unfortunately nostalgic for Sonic 06. Like I think the game was very good music, to be fair. But like
It has great music.
yeah, I thought I was just bad at the game because I could never get through it. No, that game is bad. Like it was broken. The loading screens were bad. Like the dialogue is awful. Everything about the game was just a mess. But I didn't know at the time. But I got a PS3 with it, so that was fine. And then I started playing games like Resistance. I fell in love with Resistance. So what happened is like I could never like buy games as a kid. My family couldn't like afford to. But we had a Blockbuster nearby, so I would go and rent games every now and then.
Blockbuster was the savior back then.
Everything changed. My Blockbuster introduced this program where you could pay a monthly subscription. I think it was like $20 or $30, and you could have unlimited video game rentals. And the Blockbuster was like 5 minutes from my house.
They also rented consoles too.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yep.
But being me, who always likes to play video games, my parents were like, you know what, we're just gonna get you the subscription. And they regretted that immediately because I would ask to go to Blockbuster like every day because I would get through games. There were some times where I would rent a game after I got home from school and be done with it in a few hours because games were like really short back then sometimes. And then try to go get a new one like before I went to bed. So I think during the 360 and PS3 era, I honestly, I'm not even exaggerating here. I think I played literally every video game they had, all of them across PS3, 360, Wii, every single one, every single video game in that Blockbuster I played. But this is before I knew there was like a gaming industry, games media, or anything like that. I thought it was just something I did because I was a dumb stupid kid. I thought dumb stupid kid plays video games. But I played like Final Fantasy 13 when that came out. I got it and I was like, this is just a hallway. Like I had that experience before I knew that like other people were having that experience, and I think that was really cool. Like there would be points where I would know that I had no new games were out. I knew there were no games that I would find that I hadn't played in Blockbuster, but I would just go and walk the aisles. My parents would be like, hurry up and pick one. It's like, I'm thinking. But there was one game in particular, because I played a lot of Smash Brothers Brawl, like most kids did on the Wii.
Yep.
And I thought that Snake character was pretty cool. And I'm like, I have a PS3. There's a Snake game on there, Metal Gear Solid 4. So I rented that game and everything changed, all right? Because Metal Gear Solid 4 opened my eyes to what video games could do, okay? Just the cutscenes in that game. There's a lot of them, by the way. And I ended up skipping a lot of them as a kid. But just like the way that game blended gameplay and story and just made me feel so many things, and like it was really cool. And I would show my friends like, look at this game, look what's happening on screen. Look at this Raiden guy, he's got a sword. That was cool. And then obviously I went back and I went to a GameStop when they still sold PS2 games, and I bought Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, and then I bought Metal Gear Solid 1 digitally, and I played all those games. I love Metal Gear Solid, if you couldn't tell. But towards like the end of the PS3 360 era, I started to get more and more invested in like games websites like IGN and stuff. Like I would know what they were and I would like look at their reviews. But like most of my games media stuff came from YouTube, and I would follow a lot of YouTubers. But right around the start of like this current gen, when I got my PS4, I really, really got invested in games media. But I was one of those kids where it's like, I'm gonna make video games. And up until very recently, that's what I was planning on doing. When I started college, I enrolled as a computer science major, which bad idea for me. I regretted that immediately. But I think I always knew deep down I wanted to do games media and talk about video games and write about video games, because that's all I ever do is when I'm not playing games, I'm talking about games, because I play every video game and nobody's around to talk to me about them. So I've kind of had this bottled up for years and years. So like I think about a year ago, I started writing for like my own little blog, just because I was like, you know what? Only way to do it is to get started. So I got started and I started writing about games and reviewing games. And then of course found the Outer Haven, and now I'm here with this wonderful team. And we get review codes, and people actually read the things that I write sometimes, which is really cool. And I just really, really love video games. If you couldn't tell from this show or anything I say, just video games are the coolest, man. They're the coolest thing. The thing with video games is like they've been a part of my life for literally as long as I can remember. Like I said earlier, I don't remember very much before I started playing Sly Cooper. So like when my friends say they don't play video games, some of them like because they're like normie people, you know, they don't play video games. My mind cannot, like, what do you do? What do you spend all your free time doing? Because I have other hobbies too. Like, I watch movies. I love movies. I read comics. I read books. Like, but what do you do? It doesn't, I can't process that. I like video games that much. I'm just like, I don't know what I would do without them. Like, I need to be playing something. So that's me. That's my little spiel. Yeah, it's like video games.
He likes video games. All right, folks. So I'm the elder here. I'm 42 years old. I come from a different era than these two come from. I started my gaming career on a PC when my father purchased an IBM PC called the Delta Gold Elite. And I had to be around 9 or 10 years old at that time. And I didn't really know what PC gaming was back then because it really wasn't a thing. So I would always go over to my uncle's house or my cousin's house, and they had consoles. They had the Atari 2600, they had the Intellivision, and I would go there and play those games all the time. They even had a Commodore 64. So they got me really interested in playing games and then playing PC games. So I actually took the PC that we had at the house and I started installing games like we got Outrun. But back then, they had old monochrome monitors, so it was only 2 colors. It was terrible. This is where we started doing VGA and SVGA. And eventually, a couple years later, after I got involved with that, I started getting into tinkering with PCs. So I took that machine apart and got in trouble for taking it apart. And then I ran into this guy that my uncle knows who had his own computer business. So I always go to his shop and talk to him about computers and what I can do. Eventually, I got a part-time job, and I started buying parts from him and hooking up the PC at our house and upgrading it and doing certain things. And that got me really hooked. And then my parents got me and my brother a Nintendo for Christmas. And it was funny. They got us the Nintendo, and it came with Duck Hunt and Mario. And you were like, did you guys give us any more games? And there was like a stack of 10 games behind the Christmas tree that we didn't see until the Christmas tree actually got taken down. And we're like, oh, look at all these games. So that got me started on the whole console gaming thing. I think it wasn't until later I started playing like Wolfenstein, I played Doom in school. Good schools had really decent computers then at the time, and we would always sneak off to go to the computer lab and play games. And then most of it is just a complete blur. I've had I have access to every console that came out since then. From one way or another, my friend will get one, my cousins will get one, and by proxy, I would play it as well until my parents finally started buying more stuff. Because once they got me the Nintendo, they stopped. They wouldn't buy any more consoles. They were done. The Sega Genesis, I ended up buying. The Super Nintendo, I ended up buying. Nintendo 64 and Sega Saturn and all those, I ended up buying because I got a part-time job because I wanted to feed my gaming hobby. And then, I don't know, it was, I want to say 12, 13 years ago, I fell in love with video game music. Maybe a little longer than that. So I wanted to make a way to catalog video game music, so I started a website. And then people started coming to the website, so I started working on the website, making it bigger. And it was actually, at the time, it was one of the bigger video game music sites on the internet. And then there started becoming more. This is before we had streaming services, before Napster and all that crap. And then a couple other people had the same idea. They started making video game music sites. But I still get people that come up to me on Reddit like, hey, you closed down this site. Do you still have access to this music? And I still help them out because they still remember me, which is pretty cool. But during that venture, I ran into a bunch of people who are no longer with the Outer Haven anymore that were like, it'd be cool if we started talking about video games. So we did a podcast, which was called the Outer Haven Podcast. And we did that for a number of years. And then they were like, it'd be also cool if we started writing about games. So we started the written side of the Outer Haven. And then it just took off from there. I ran into a bunch of cool people like Rob and Deigo and Josh and Carl and people that were actually part of the industry. Like we had one person who went to go work for Rockstar. They couldn't stay with us. They had to go work for Rockstar Gaming, which is obviously go there. We had a couple people that went on to bigger sites. I think we had one person ended up going to Riot for a while to work on League of Legends. But we've had a lot of people here, and people come, people go. But I'm still here with the Outer Haven because it's where I started out. It's where I've got my start, where I got to go to places like PAX East for free and get to talk to people in the industry, and it wasn't something that I was like, I want to do this when I get older, because eventually I fell in with computers. I took computer science 2 colleges, dropped out both of them because my professors weren't teaching me anything I didn't already know, and I didn't see the point of paying a couple $1,000s for stuff I already knew. Yeah, it just snowballed from there, and here I am now. It's been fun. It's been hell. It's been frustrating, to say the least, because gaming has evolved so much. It's still expensive now, but there's so many cool things out there now that you didn't have when you were younger, or didn't even think this would be a thing. I never thought we'd get to a point where we would see games looking the way they are. I mean, when I was a kid, looking at the Nintendo was amazing. Now we got these games that are like, wow, these are like movies and stuff. They're amazing how far we've come in such a, if you think about it, a short amount of time. We've really jumped the gap within the last 10 years. So here I am. This is where I got my start in gaming. I'm so happy I did. I can't wait to see what the future brings. There, I'm done. The end.
So I completely skipped the part that we were doing in the industry. I thought we were doing them one at a time.
I did it all. I went right through it.
That's totally fine. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I kind of felt that. I started with the whole 3D era and then kind of moved on from there. But even in like Final Fantasy VII, it was like the characters were 3D, but there was still like pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff. So like jumping onto like 3D games, it was always like, all right, this is a wall, but it's very clearly not real. And then when things started to get, more and more realistic, I was like, okay, it's come a long way. It's like, it was impressive to me.
Oh yeah.
Just in middle school to high school, like I had noticed this, and that was kind of part of why I hopped into the industry too. It was around the same time. I'm gonna jump into this part now. Sorry, I skipped myself.
No, yeah, go for it.
Okay. But the first game that kind of made me want to go into the industry just in general was Halo 3. Halo 3 is my favorite game of all time. And reason being, it was the first game where I kind of looked at it and I was like, this is the first game I've ever looked at and thought, this is amazing. This is like the game. It was like such a perfect package. The story was amazing. It was a great finale. It was like the perfect resolution to a story I've been following for a while. The graphics were amazing at the time. It was like the jump from PlayStation 2 games to the 360 was insane to me. I had just looking at everything was so beautiful. There was detail and everything. It was amazing. The multiplayer itself was addictive. You could keep coming back to it because you keep making your own custom game types, custom maps, everything. Like there was such like a huge community behind it too. I met some online friends that I've met in real life just because I played Halo 3 with them when I was in 6th grade, because my mom was actually willing to pay for live, which was a bad idea, but a good idea. And I met some amazing people just from playing a 360 game online. We did like a snowball into us playing like Grand Theft Auto online all the time. Back in Grand Theft Auto 4, where all you did was just pick up a gun on the map and drive a cool car. And man, it was so much fun. But Halo 3 is where I got my start, because that got me thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And I know at like 7th and 8th grade, obviously you shouldn't be thinking about that, or at least not have, just one idea. But it was as if I had looked at that game and I was like, I like video games. And like I had decided at that point, because like a lot of my teachers were saying, oh, I like your writing, it's very good, and like, typical like, oh, you did a very good job. I'd get like, writing was my best subject. I didn't like math at all. I didn't like science. I didn't enjoy any of the other stuff really. And I enjoyed writing a lot, and I enjoyed video games a lot too. So eventually at one point I was, I'd go to GameStop every once in a while, because I'd be like, hey mom, I want to get this new game, it just came out. And I'd be like, all right, cool, let's go. And we would go and get some, and I found out that GameStop did the Game Informer subscription if you got the pro membership. And I was like, oh, cool. It seems outdated, but at the time it was like the thing to do, to keep tabs on everything. Even if you're younger, you don't have access to a computer all the time. I had a router with one Ethernet cord that could only go to the computer or the Xbox. So it would just be a matter of swapping between the two, I wasn't allowed to play, my mom had to check her email or whatever. We'd have to swap, and I'd have to play offline. So a lot of the time, I would pick up the magazine, and I would take a look and read through articles and stuff, and I would spend hours just like looking at these magazines and stuff, because I love like the features that they did, the storylines that come from the people that come behind video games, developing, writing stories. It was amazing to me. It was a whole world I had no idea about, because it was as if, you see the front end of a video game and you're like, this is a really cool experience and it's been awesome and I paid money for it. Great. But you don't realize like the stories behind it and like the amount of hard work and the amount of people that it takes to create a game like that. And I had no conception of the amount of work it took for a video game to be made. So like reading up on all these stories, I'd be like, this is amazing. Like there are individuals behind this that you would never really even thought of, unless it wasn't somebody who was writing about it or talked to them or came up to them and was like, hey, let me tell you your story. And from there, I was always just kind of like, all right, I like Game Informer. I like reading about video games, stories of the people behind the video games. What if I just do that? And I was like, okay, cool. So I knew what I wanted to do at 8th grade, which was unusual to say the least. But yeah, I've like talked to, high school and like, college advisors, and they'd be like, oh, you want to write about video games? That's weird, never heard of that before. And she'd be like, yeah, it's a thing. and then people would just be like, all right, cool, go for it. And I did. And that's what I went to school for. I went to school for journalism. I wrote reviews for my college paper. I became the editor, and that's where I am now. I'm writing for the Outer Haven and living life. So I just, everything kind of snowballed from there. It's what I've wanted to do for eternity, and now I'm here doing it. That's it.
Video games are magic, y'all. That's all I'm gonna say.
What?
Video games are magic.
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, they're a good stress reliever. They do so many positive things for you, and yeah, sometimes negative too. But yeah, video games are magic. I definitely will say that.
And it's a miracle that they're made often.
Honestly,
a lot of times there are some very personal stories of people just like going through hell to make games. And
oh my god, yeah.
The more I learn about game development, the more and more I get surprised that games function when I press start. Like blows my mind.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's awesome, and everybody should hop in and play video games.
I just love video games, man. I don't know about
Even if
y'all.
it's just like some random person, just be like, hey, I got a PlayStation, try this out. I got my mom to play fucking Rocket Power multiplayer with me when I was younger. It's just anyone can play a video game, and everyone should play a video game at least once.
Somebody should try my wife that. She plays video games, but she plays those early silly games on her smartphone. She doesn't play games with me anymore.
Maybe I should try one of these games I keep hearing about. I don't know.
You mean try? I think you play too many games, Sam.
I don't know, I'm thinking about getting into these video games I keep hearing about.
These video games.
Yeah, what?
On that note, I think it's time to go ahead and end the show so I can get back to playing some more Destiny 2. I've got a lot more PvP to do before I retire for tonight. Thanks for listening to our podcast. And once again, everybody, you can find the Outer Haven podcast, which are the Untitled Chapter podcast and the Spectator Mode Podcast, at audioboom.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, pretty much everywhere podcasts are hosted at. You'll be hearing a lot more of us in the upcoming future. So thanks for checking out today's show, and we will talk to you later.